The Exiled Lands has a few major players: Kurak, Metkamoses, Conan and Rasma. However, others survive in these soils, small folk with their own tales to tell. Within a small camp at the heart of the Mounds of the Dead resides Braga. A sarcastic yet friendly Cimmerian, he lives on the outskirts of his kinsmen, the Cimmerians within the Mounds. He's alone, though that has not always been the case. Braga was sentenced to death, crucified in the far south of the Exiled Lands. However, beneath that beating sun, he was saved by a Shemite man, a stranger, Sanus of Aphia. Though Braga was wounded, Sanus and himself pushed north in search of refuge. They passed the Shattered Bridge, through Shaman's Rise and through the Slave Way, where Sanus was wounded by the sting of a scorpion. They rested for a while, yet the insidious venom of that barbed beast was too much. As Braga took sleep at the Shattered Springs, Sanus relieved his own pain and journeyed to the afterlife. Braga buried him there and marched onward to reach the north for which they had sought. Braga now rests, alone, in the Mounds of the Dead. He's seen the Silent Legion and the Frost Giants of the north, the Nords of New Azagarth, and the tomb of the Priest King in the west. He speaks little of Sanus, yet feels tied to these mounds. The Cimmerians here are his kin, and Braga desperately tries to free them from their delusions, praying the curse wall is brought down. Whilst his wounds may have healed, he likely still thinks of the Shemite who lifted him from the cross that spelled his doom. As a relic hunter, Gilzan has seen many of the ancient wonders. He's seen the unnamed city, the Shattered Springs, and he's stalked the streets of Sepameru for years. Over his time, he has come to theorise the nature of the chains that bind him. It's unknown how Gilzan reached this place. The Exiled Lands holds many prisoners for many different reasons. His manner of speaking indicates a familiarity with rumours, advice, and the hunt for riches. He may have been a peddler of information, or just a man concerned with how much gold he can accrue. It's no wonder, then, that he's fallen in with the relic hunters of Sepameru. Gilzan frequents Sepameru's eastern gate, though he can also be found on the Slave Road, outside the unnamed city, where he presumably searches for treasures. Over those years, Gilzan has begun to realise the machinations playing out behind the scenes. He's realised that many exiles, believed to be dead outside of these walls, live beneath the slave bracelet. Across his time, he's seen waves of invaders pour through the cursed wall, slaying the prisoners and stealing the many, many relics. This practice, called skimming by some, has enlightened Gilzan to the true nature of things. He realises the exiles are simply cheap labour, serving only to dig up artefacts for those skimmers to take. Through this realisation, Gilzan thinks he sees a way out. He believes that, if he can find what the skimmers are searching for and defend it from them, he has the ultimate bargaining chip and could make a great deal. The nature of that deal would likely be his own freedom, but for a man like Gilzan, gold may be just as alluring. Until himself and the relic hunters find that prized treasure though, Gilzan resides in Sepameru, dealing with everyday life as an exile. Stood high above the world below, the Mountaineer resides atop Fingerfang Rock, gazing longingly across the desert. The Mountaineer is a Cimmerian man, adorned in furs and steel, protecting him from the bitter winds and sharp rocks of mountains like these. He is an experienced climber, a knowledge gained through struggle. The Mountaineer is tired. tired of the corruption and the blood and the darkness etched into the sands below. There is little freedom to be found in the Exile Lands, yet the Mountaineer finds his own respite atop these mountains.
The world is a beautiful place from the top of a mountain.
The Mountaineer is a simple man, enjoying what little freedom he can grasp within this prison. The world looks small and wonderful atop Fingerfang Rock, and whilst the Mountaineer may find no permanent salvation, this view provides respite to his weary soul.
Take your leave, friend. Just remember that you can always climb away from your troubles.
A new prisoner of the Exile Lands, the princess found herself tied to an altar, a masked sorcerer leering over, preparing his ritual dagger. A blood eclipse shone radiantly overhead, and scream as she may, the sorcerer would not release her chains. As that fateful moment came, where the masked man preached incantations in unnatural tongues, her saviour finally arrived. A burly Cimmerian brute, bound in steel-thewed muscle, he mercilessly cut through the camp. His blade took the head of the sorcerer, and then slashed her bonds, freeing her from torment beneath that blood sun. Once the eclipse had faded, the princess found herself within a tavern, warm respite from her previous shackled terror. The Cimmerian stood with her. He offered few words, calm and stoic, but his saving grace was more than enough. Her royal blood was the source of her capture. Her father, a king in a foreign land, had accrued a debt with Toth Amon, the architect of the Exiled Lands. The debt had become untenable, and to settle it, the king willingly traded his own daughter to the Stygian sorcerer. Toth would presumably find her blood useful, yet for unknown reasons she was cast away to the Exiled Lands, to rot with the others. After her arrival, it was Moses who had found her, intending to use her coveted blood for sacrifice. Now free, she intends to stay by Conan's side.
I'm well away from my dog king father. I won't go back. For now, I'll follow Conan. If that path leads me to danger, so may it be. It can be no worse than what I have faced.
The quill of fate still daubs the princess's story. The Exiled Lands are not finished with her, nor she with them. What lays ahead is uncertain, but by the side of that steely Cimmerian, she may yet encounter more dreadful sorcerers. And that was the lore of 4 minor characters. Thank you for watching, and as always a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. These stories are all a bit too small to warrant their own dedicated video, but there are plenty more characters in Conan Exiles, so if you would like to see a part 2, do let me know. Again, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.